Sometimes the name makes the cocktail. I'm Brian Johnson, and in this episode of Better Cocktails at Home, we're making the Hanky Panky. It's a classic cocktail, very easy to make, and very tasty. So, the base spirit of this cocktail is gin. I'm using Leopold's gin here. I really like it, it's a nice product. And then I'm going to do 1 ounce of this. And add that to our mixing glass. Next up is, original recipe calls for sweet vermouth. I'm using Dolin Blanc here, which is it's a white vermouth, but it is sweet. So I think it works well in this cocktail, so that's what I'm using. I'm going to do 1 ounce of this also. And add that to our mixing glass. And at this point we have one main ingredient left, and it's Fernet Branca. Fernet Branca is an Amaro, so it's that Italian liqueur. It's herbal, it's got bitterness to it. This particular one has a lot of mint in it, so it's got that menthol flavor and aroma to it. Very tasty, very popular. The recipe calls for a dash, so you could try to measure it out maybe 1/8 of an ounce or so. I kind of just like to, you know, take my chances with what comes out. That was probably a little more than a dash, but you know, I think sometimes variety is good. Now we're gonna add our ice. All right, and because all of our ingredients are clear, we will be stirring this cocktail, and we want to give it a good 30 seconds, 40 seconds or so. All right, that should just about do it. And I like to use a coupe style glass, but you could use a cocktail glass if you wanted to. And then I'll use my julep strainer, and I'll strain it right in. Now, if you were to use a more traditional red sweet vermouth, it would be a darker color, but because I use the Dolin Blanc, it's not as, it's lighter colored. And then finally, I want to give us a nice thing of orange zest right over top. And then I like to just give it a quick twist and drop it in. And now that's the Hanky Panky. Very simple. It's just a nice, refreshing cocktail. You know, you can, obviously it's a smaller one. That's kind of the proportion I usually use when I make it. You know, if you want to kind of adjust it and play with it, you can. I think the orange is really crucial here, just because it kind of gives it that sweet citrus note that like lemon would be more like sharp and, you know, more citrusy, whereas this kind of gives a little bit of sweetness to it. Now this one's really a true classic cocktail, and really a true Prohibition cocktail. And there's a lot of cocktails that really, you know, kind of people say Prohibition when they really aren't Prohibition cocktails. This one was created in Europe and actually came out of London in the Savoy hotel bar. It was created by a lady bartender named Coleman, and it came out in the 1920s. And she was really, I don't know exactly, but she probably wasn't the first female bartender, but she was certainly like one of the most famous female bartenders back in the day. And it's a great cocktail that she left us with. But that's how you make the Hanky Panky.